Today I'm filming in our living room. I really love this bookshelf. It just gives me work vibes. And no, these are not all my books. These books are from our landlord, but he kept them here and we love it, so they stayed. Today, I want to map out 2023 financially. I want to see exactly what I expect to be spending, and I want to create a plan on how I want to distribute my income into spending, savings, and investing. And I want to invite you to use this video and budget your next year with me. A yearly budget is extremely helpful for a number of reasons. First of all, if we budget yearly, we can also include expenses that we might only have once or twice a year that would be forgotten if we only did a monthly budget. Second of all, that's the perfect starting point to set financial goals, because if we have a nice overview of what our spendings are, we can create realistic plans on what we want to save or what we want to invest. If we set financial goals that are way too unrealistic, then we will just get discouraged and not do anything at all. And thirdly, we can take the budget and say, okay, if this is what I'm going to spend next year, I need to earn at least X amount or more. So these are the reasons why we will set up a budget for 2023. We will look at the categories, see what we spent, and we will use this budget to determine a monthly minimum savings rate that is very realistic that we want to achieve. But we will also take another number, a more ambitious savings amount that we could achieve. So we will have two numbers to play with when it comes to setting financial goals later on. So grab a pen and paper and let's start budgeting 2023. Oh, and if you use a tracking app for your expenses, then go ahead and take this one too, because it will be helpful to have your past monthly expenses in order to create an average for the different categories. So for the categories, I will use a distinction that the 50-30-20 method is also using. I explained them in depth in a video over here. It is your needs, your wants, and savings. So for the need category, we will include our rent and utilities. So what are we expecting to pay there in the next year? We'll include all insurances that we have, also the yearly insurances. So I'm going to write down a monthly amount, and then I'm going to write down a yearly amount for the ones that are yearly. I will include the phone bill because that's a necessity. You should include any minimum debt payment that you have in there as well, childcare if you have any costs there. And now we're getting to transportation and groceries. So transportation is all the car costs that you have and a monthly average of your gas, and then groceries is also monthly average. So for that, I'm going to look at my app and see what I spent these past month. Okay, once we've written all of them down, we will add them up and write down our sum over here. This sum is very important because this is our must-have. We need to have at least that amount of money, and obviously there will be coming more expenses, but this is our bare minimum. Okay, next up is our wants. I recommend you think about the things that you spend on a monthly basis. Some examples could be hobbies, electronics, entertainment, shopping, eating out, gifts, vacation, drugstore, obviously, gym. I had just realized I had forgotten the category health, which is obviously a need. For me, that does not include health insurance because that is automatically deducted from my paycheck, but any other health costs that I might have. So I will just write down a monthly average over here. Make sure to think about all the subscriptions that you have and include them either in your needs or your wants. For the gift category, I have decided to write down a monthly average that would include birthdays, and then I will include another number that will be Christmas gifts, and I will include that as a yearly amount later on. Vacation is a category I love, and I don't want to be restraining myself too much there, so I'm actually going through my yearly overviews of the past couple of years and see how much I spent there, and then take at least the biggest amount. Because next year I'm also planning to travel a lot, and I usually underestimate what I spend on vacation or what I spend in total on a year for travel. So this year I want to make sure that number is a little bit higher to not underestimate again. Okay, these were the more obvious categories, but now we will get to the add-ons, like the special stuff that is maybe once a year, twice a year, and that we will not have on a monthly basis. We could have taken vacation and put it there. I should have done that, but well, anyways, let's start with the add-ons. Okay, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about add-ons are my contact lenses that I buy twice a year. So I will write down a yearly number for that. Take any expenses that are individual to you that you know you're buying regularly, yearly. Okay, next up would be transportation. In the transportation above, I have included the minimum amount, but I want to include things like visiting friends or visiting my family. So I would need train tickets for that. So I'll estimate a number for that as well. I'm planning on getting a new phone next year because mine is starting to act up, and I will include that number here. So if you know that there's anything like big that you need to replace next year, then put down that number. Whether that's phone, laptop, a fridge, microwave, or maybe you need a new car. So write that down. For my shopping, I actually wrote down a very low number in my wants, and that would include like clothes, but I will need to get a few shoes next year, so I will write that down separately because shoes are expensive and I did not calculate that in my regular shopping expense. I was considering getting a bike again next year because mine was stolen, and I only use public transportation. I don't have a car. So I might include that there. I'm not sure yet whether I will actually get it or not, but I can plan with it. And then if I decide to not get the bike, I have the money to save or spend on something else. You can also include a number for unexpected expenses that you might have in the year. Okay, last thing I want to include is self-care costs. I did include like products that I will buy from a drugstore in my want category. But if I want to go to the hairdresser or getting a massage or a facial, that's obviously not a monthly cost, at least not for me. So I will include a yearly number down here in the add-ons. Okay, I think we have covered all the expenses. If there's anything else that you can think of, then write that down. And now we're taking all the expenses that we have and we will divide them and see whether they're a real must-have or a nice-to-have. I know we have already categorized it by needs, wants, and add-ons, but still, with this budget, I want to create two numbers: our maximum amount that we are going to spend next year, and then a minimum amount that we will spend next year. And for the minimum amount, it would not be sustainable to take only the need category because there will be wants and there will be add-ons that you also have to pay or that you're not going to cut out next year. So that's why I want to take the numbers and divide them by must-haves and nice-to-haves. Our minimum amount that we will spend, it will only include our must-haves. So for me, all the needs are must-haves, obviously. For the add-ons, my contact lenses are also must-have, obviously. The new phone will be a must-have. Add-ons that I will not include in my must-haves will be a potential bike, my budget for massage, and my budget for hairdresser because I might not need it. For shoes, I'm actually going to take half the number as must-haves and the other half as nice-to-have. The same goes for wants. We could take these categories and the numbers and then maybe take half of the number or a part of the number as must-haves and then the other part as nice-to-have. That's the number we could maybe cut down on if we really wanted or needed to. Now that that's done, we will calculate our expenses for must-haves and then all of our expenses. Okay, so these are our expenses for the next year. Now I want to write down what I expect to be making every month, and I also want to write down what I want to give to charities or organizations I care about next year. Now we will take our monthly income and subtract the must-have expenses. That is our maximum savings rate that we could save or invest with that income. If we subtract all the expenses that we've written down from our income, that is our minimum savings rate. So we want to achieve at least that next year. This is very realistic. And if that number is negative, then that means you cannot be spending all that you have written down, or you need to make more money next year. So with the help of these numbers, we can set up our financial goals for next year now that could be either realistic or ambitious. And for example, if your financial goals require more money than that, then you know that you need to change something about these expenses right here, or you need to increase your income. The next video after this one will actually be how to set financial goals for 2023. So if you don't want to miss that, subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for budgeting with me today. I hope this video was helpful. It was on my to-do list to do that before the next year. And I hope now you have a better overview of what your financial situation will be next year. If you want to watch more videos on money management, I will link my playlist right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.